So welcome to Wally Nature Reserve. This whole area, all these fields, everything you can see here will become woodland. We've finally had some surveys done. There's no rare wax caps or anything we need to worry about. So this is all going to become brand new woodland, about 18 acres of it. And then further down the valley, just about make out Dundas Aqueduct in the background. That might let you know where you are if you know the area. We've got a bunch of land down here, all along the River Avon. So we're going to go and have a look at the whole site and I'll show you some of the stuff we've been working on. So this bit is Hazelwood, right next to the rest of Wally Nature Reserve. We've got this extra bit of land, which is another 11 acres of ancient woodland. And it's really dark and really dense because this Hazelwood, funnily enough, is an old hazel coppice. And you can see it's all been kind of left to go. So everything is uniform height, uniform density, and that's not very useful for wildlife, which needs a whole mixture of different heights and growths and canopy levels. So we've actually started coppicing. Just remember how dark this is, and we'll go and show you the other bit over here. So this area looked exactly the same, just as dark, just as dense, and obviously it looks pretty destructive that we've cut a bunch of stuff down, but it's produced a lot of useful timber that we're already using to fix up the steps and make these fence posts. But the deer also really like the young shoots, and they will completely browse off everything that comes out of these hazel. So we've put this deer fencing up just to keep the deer out, and then we can kind of move that around as the different compartments of this hazel coppice come back into rotation. So we've reopened this old vehicle trail. Some reckon it's the old public footpath. We're going to make it a permissive path fairly soon. So it's impossible to get down here at all, on foot, with a vehicle, anything. And opening that up has been great, but already it's spring, everything's starting to grow, including all of this Himalayan balsam, which is all over the site. It's actually climbed up from the river. So it can, the seeds explode and go 3 meters in any direction, so it can actually climb up hills as well as constantly sending more seeds down the water. But it's going to be a big job that needs a lot of volunteers and some contractors with strimmers to get the lot. Alright, we've made it through down to the bottom. This is the wetland area, the River Avon, just about to see it through the trees following this line of willows here. So we've got about 1 kilometre of River Avon, which is amazing, and this whole area at the bottom is going to become a wet woodland. There's not many of those around. The species that are specialised to exist in them are really having a rough one. And most of them have just dried out or been filled in, or the land has been drained, and that's what's happened here. There are land drains that we've been smashing and filling up with mud and planting willow trees in. And we're planting all sorts of tree species, native British trees along the bottom. On the higher bits here, they're sort of species that like it higher and drier. And down at the bottom, they're species like willow and alder that want to be in the water. So all of this will hopefully suck up more water when it floods, to reduce the negative effects of flooding downriver. So this willow tree was blocking the vehicle track, and one of the first things we did was cut down a willow tree, which seems a bit bad for a nature reserve. But you can see here, it's just been coppiced. The tree is still alive. So there's, where there was one tree, there's one, but there's a lot more than one. Let me show you. All these bits that we cut up, we took a lot of those to go and make leaky dams down there, and they're still alive, and this is still alive. There's stored energy in the trunk, and as it's touching the floor, it's trying to get roots out to replace that energy. And if it can do that, it will continue to live. So up on these higher and drier bits, the trees that we've planted, they were given to us by local groups that had spares and nurseries and things. We've planted species that will provide quick fruit, quick wins for wildlife here. So we've got kind of rowan, wild apple, wild cherry, crab apple, and silver birch, and those are quick growing trees that will help to cover things up and give food and space for the birds. And then down here you can see all along the bottom we've dotted alder and willow, which the beavers are actually going to use to kind of help manage some of the water flow. So let's go and have a look at where the water's running on the land. Even when it's this hot in May, we've still got water moving around, so we'll have a look. So this area, it started off as a leaky dam. We just put this bit across, and that was keeping a fair bit of water in, and that managed to make this very thin stream that was just a few inches wide, managed to make it into quite a large pond area. But as we went from winter into spring, there's been less and less water, and you can see this whole rest of the area has been drying out. But yeah, here's the river. There's Himalayan balsam all up and down it. There's giant hogweed all over the place. So a few invasives to get rid of, but we've also got beavers and otters. So this whole bottom area here, where it comes down the hill and kind of Wally Wood meets the floodplain here, there's this like secondary stream that clearly was part of the old River Avon before it kind of really got entrenched in where it is, with all of the land drains scooping all the water away to make it run through there. So there are these lower lying parts that we're trying to block up with more leaky dams, and depending on how much it's rained and how much the springs are producing, we really get kind of varying water levels here. And the goal is, over time, more water come in, less water go out, so that we can make this be a proper wetland down here. And we're doing this like with our beavers. We've already got 2 colonies of beavers that meet in the middle. So the Limpley Stoke colony and the Whalley Weir colony, they both hang out here. And so the goal is keep planting more willow, more alder, keep putting in leaky dams, and they'll come along at some point and go, what cowboys have been through here? What's all this then? And they'll start fixing it up with the willow and the alder that we're planting. They'll coppice that, they'll weave it in, and they'll use bigger chunks to make proper dams. And then they will hopefully one day put their lodges up top, because they're currently living in the banks. And beavers generally prefer to live in the banks, but the river levels change by like a metre an hour, and that is so fast that their young are dying in their banks. So we want them to move in up here. We're kind of gentrifying this area for beavers all along the back, all amongst those trees, making it much nicer for them to hang out in. So that's the big goal. It's going to take a long time. We only got this land, halfway through January, and it's early May. So there's a lot more we need to do. We need to get diggers down here next winter and dig some big lakes and ponds. We need to get livestock in to clear some of this vegetation because it's too fertile, and that's bad for wildflower species. There's a huge amount of work to do, and even getting guys with strimmers out costs £150 a day. So if you can chuck some money into the crowdfunder, there's so much to do here. As you can see, we've got a huge amount of land. There's even more down there. We haven't even gone to their calcareous grassland. It's a massive site, and there's so much to do. So please, we need your help.